So there are lots of different reasons why you might not be enjoying having sex. And is it possible that that might be an indicator that you're a lesbian or gay? Yeah, it's a possibility. But there are also lots of really common things that contribute to that. One of the most common things is a lot of women report following childbirth, their sexual desire decreasing and not enjoying sex in the same ways that they used to. And there are a couple of reasons in particular for that dynamic. A lot of times it can be because of pelvic floor issues, pelvic floor damage. And so your pelvic floor isn't responding as normally as it used to. So sex can feel different and decrease some of that. It's also really common that all of a sudden you don't feel like your body is your own, especially if you're breastfeeding and you've got kids hanging on you all the time, literally and figuratively. And so it can feel like your body is no longer your own. When it comes to sexual desire for females, there are lots and lots of different variables that come into play. And understanding sexual desire and the role of sexual desire is really important in this equation. When things are functioning well, there are two things about sexual desire that the research has shown. In human beings, sexual desire is pretty constant and it's pretty strong. And so if you find yourself in a position where that's not the case, where your sexual desire isn't as strong as you think it should be or as it used to be, or you're not feeling sexual desire very frequently, that's probably a pretty good indication that something is out of whack. It's also important to understand the healthy role of sexual desire in your relationship that we can come back to in just a minute. What are some of the things that go into sexual desire for a female? Well, I have a diagram that shows this. There are lots of different variables that come into play. What's going on hormonally, the state of your personal reservoir, how many resources you have, how close you feel to your partner, how much sleep you've had, how connected you feel in other relationships in your life. There are lots and lots of variables at any given time that influence the sexual desire of a female. And so just looking at sexual intimacy without taking into consideration the other areas of intimacy in your relationship really leaves the huge part of the equation out. There are several areas of connection. There's emotional connection, there's spiritual connection, there's sexual connection, there's psychological connection, physical connection. And typically those areas of connection will all be at about the same level. It's really rare for you to be like at a 2 in emotional connection and a 3 in spiritual connection and then a 10 in sexual connection. Typically, all of them will kind of be hovering at about the same level. So what do you do about it if you're not feeling very attracted to your partner or you're not enjoying sex? One of the best places to start is to look at the other areas of intimacy in your relationship. One of the most predictable aspects to keep in mind is that most of the time, women want to have sex as the result of feeling close and connected to their partners. In general, when a woman feels close, she wants to have sex and is more interested in sex. When a woman feels disconnected or distant in a relationship, then it's much more difficult for a female to want to engage in sexual intimacy. And so if you look at those other areas and you think, okay, yeah, I feel miles away from my spouse or my partner in terms of our emotional connection. If you do things to nurture that emotional connection, it will help you, one, want to engage in sex more frequently, and two, you'll enjoy that sexual intimacy and sexual connection more because you're already feeling connected in these other areas of connection. Some of the most common root causes for lack of enjoyment in sexual intimacy or lack of desire are pelvic floor health, and then hormone imbalances and disconnection, lack of connection with your spouse. While I've seen and helped a lot of people with each of these, I'm not an expert in pelvic floor health and I'm not an expert in hormones. If you feel like those are part of the problem, then there's certainly a lot of things that you can do to help that. And I would just encourage you to seek out some help to get some of that. There are exercises that you can do. There are lots of different things that you can do hormonally to help with that situation. Let me encourage you to start with something that you have absolute control over right now and that you can do without needing an appointment with somebody else or without having to wait to get in. Let's talk about how to improve the connection that you feel, sexual connection and the desire to have sex for a female is almost always the result of feeling close and emotionally connected. So let me give you some tips of how to improve the emotional connection with your partner. One, I'd like you to just take a little bit of time and write down 5 things that help you feel connected to your partner. Those might be going out to eat, spending 15 minutes, him just listening to me for 15 minutes, non-sexual affection like hugs and kisses. A lot of times women report that they feel like their partner only touches them or is interested in being close to them physically when they want to have sex. And otherwise they're completely preoccupied in their own life. And so non-sexual affection can be a great tool. Writing notes and letters expressing how you feel, or him writing notes and expressing how he feels about you, can be something that can help you feel connected. Running chores, this ties into love language. And so depending on what your love language is, and if you don't know what your love language is, you can go to 5lovelanguages.com and take the test and find out what your love language is. So spending quality time, going on dates, going on walks can be really helpful. If acts of service is one of your main love languages, then him doing things that you interpret as service, that can be doing the dishes, running an errand. What it really comes down to is we want to feel like we are on the other person's mind. They're thinking about us, they're mindful of us, they're aware of what's going on with us. And so things that communicate that to you, that help you feel like he's aware of you, he's aware of what's going on inside you, in your heart, in your life, will help you feel close to him. So write down 5 of those things. And then I would encourage you each day for the next week, pick one of those things. You got to get his buy-in, right? Because this is a relational component. That's the other thing to really keep in mind, that when you're talking about sexual intimacy, you're talking about a relational component. This isn't something that you just address on your own. This is about you feeling like you matter to him and that you feel safe with him. And what I've seen over and over and over again is that a lot of times people get kind of messed up in their heads around this, and they start playing mind games with themselves, and I'm not going to like it, and it's going to hurt, or I'm going to, all of these different things, start playing games. But very seldom after somebody has an enjoyable sexual encounter do they report not enjoying it. So one question that you might want to ask yourself is, why wouldn't I want to have sex? If I'm feeling connected with my partner, if I'm having orgasms, if I'm feeling seen and understood, why wouldn't I want to do that? And that can kind of help shift that thought process in your head. And so do get his buy-in, and for the next week, pick one of those 5 things each day for the two of you to do. The last tip that I will encourage, and it's important that you understand this, is that you have sex, even if you're not feeling like it. And I'm not suggesting that you put yourself in an unsafe position or that you put yourself in a position where you're feeling used. Again, sexual intimacy can be this area where we can get a lot of weirdness built up about it. And in a healthy relationship, you're having healthy relationships. The people that report the highest levels of relationship satisfaction report having sex 1 to 2 times a week. If you're having sex less frequently than that, you're probably not utilizing the connecting power that sexual intimacy has to bring the two of you together. If you're having sex much more than that, chances are good that you're depending too much on sexual intimacy and maybe neglecting the other areas of connection, of emotional intimacy, of spiritual intimacy, of financial intimacy. And so it shouldn't be like this big event when you have sex with your partner. It should be something that you both can count on, you can both plan on, and that you both know that it's going to be happening 1 to 2 times a week, so that it doesn't get weird. And so as you're proactively 5 things that you've identified to help you feel more emotionally connected to him, and as you're engaging in sex, I would be shocked if your sexual desire doesn't increase and your sexual enjoyment doesn't increase pretty quickly over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so if I could leave you with just one thought, it would be, this is a totally solvable problem for most people. And it's an important thing, because this is one of the areas of your primary attachment relationship that makes this relationship uniquely special. Hopefully, you're not having sex with a whole bunch of people. One of the things that makes this most important relationship special is that this sex is one of the things that you only share with this person. And so it has a lot of power to communicate how much the other person matters to you and how much you matter to them because they're sharing this really special thing with you. There are also tons of chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, depending on what kind of sex you're having, tons of neurochemical things that happen. Sex is a really important part of a healthy relationship. I want you to know this is a solvable problem. That doesn't mean just like grinning and bearing it or gutting through the chore of having sex so that your partner will get off your back. But this can actually be something that you can absolutely enjoy. And so get the help. Check out our other resources. We've got tons of resources that can help you on this. In our coaching program, one of our modules is entirely on how to improve the sexual intimacy and connection in a very healthy way in your relationship. So if I could leave you with just one thing, here's the best advice that I could give you. Make your list of 5 things. Talk to your partner about doing this activity with you. Pick one thing off of that list for the next 7 days, and during those 7 days, have sex twice. And you'll be amazed at the difference that you see as you start to get this ball rolling. And if this is the first sign, you're probably not a lesbian. And catch you on the next video.